You there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forge Lines Forever. Today I have a 5v5 custom match here on the most amazing Neuroxis map generator. So let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players, starting off with Team 1 up here to the north section of the map, ending with Team 2 down here in the southern section. Starting off with his own little island here to the north, well, mostly islands here to the northeast. We have the Melee. He is like the wheelie, except the W is flipped over to be an M. Kind of like a mini and Wumbo. Going first, land as a Seraphim in Batman Gray, and he is a 1900. To his southwest, we have Kapobu. I don't know how to say that name. Apologies for really butchering that name. I think I call him TBK for short. He's going first, land as another Cyberman for Team 1. He is in Snow White as a 1300. To his west in Chevy Crimson, we have Dante going first, land second air as a UEF, and he is an 1100. To his west, another UEF player here. It is God of War going first, land in Royal Purple as another 1100 for his team. And last but not least, in the northwest corner of Team 1's main land, we have Maximus XXX going first, land as an Aeon in Ruby Red, and he is a 1500. So for our players here on Team 1 side of things, we have two Cyberns to the east, two UEFs in the middle, and an Aeon to the west. No Seraphim for Team 1. Down here in the south, starting off with his essentially almost his own island, we have the player of Hyper 2001 going first, land second air as an Aeon in Forest Green. To his northeast, but actually very sensible color, by the way. In his northeast, the other green player on Team 2, it is Chuckle Buns going first, land as an UEF. He's an Emerald Green, and he is a 1400. Hyper 2001 is also a 1400. To his east, in the middle here for Team 2, we have Piece of Cake. Maybe he'll think this game is a piece of cake. Who knows? Or maybe he just needs a piece of cake. Who knows? We all need a piece of cake once in a while. He's going first, land second, land as well in Stitch Blue as a UEF, and he is an 1100. And also on the move, we have Twitchy Mofo going first, land as I think the only Seraphim in the game. Yep, the only Seraphim in the game. He is in Pac-Man Yellow. He is a 1400. Piece of Cake is an 1100. And again, Twitchy Mofo is in Pac-Man Yellow as a 1400 as a Seraphim. Last but not least for Team 2 in the water down here, going for Navy, we have Rekather going first, land second, third air, fourth Navy. Very long build order there. And he is in lightish red pink. And again, he is a Cyberin, and he is a 1700. So for Team 2 side of things, we have an Aeon here to the west, two UEF players here in the Midwest and middle. Mid-east, we have a Seraphim, and to the southeast, we have a Cyberin. So Team 2 has all of the factions represented with a double in UEF technology. Let's go ahead and take a look at the reclaim here. For the whole map, we have essentially 16,000, I bet. It's currently 15.5, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was 16,000, if not more. It's not a lot of reclaim, and there is, some mexes. There's not a lot of mexes. That's not like no mexes. It's kind of in between. It's kind of like a nice, good balance. There's a group of mexes here to the east and the west for our players to scoop up, but essentially, you can draw a line through the middle, and Team 1 will be on the north, Team 2 will be on the south, and really it's only going to be about denying mexes, not necessarily trying to claim mexes from your opponent, because there's not a land bridge. I think you can, I don't think you can get units across. It's just barely deep enough to where UEF units cannot go in it. Same with Mantis. You can get Aurora, and you can't get Zooey across, but that's really about it. So our players will be heavily reliant on naval tech to traverse the map and also deal damage to enemy positions. Of course, we have a couple of Navy starting to be on the field here for Team 2. I think Team 2 also, no, I don't think they're going for Navy quite as yet. There are a couple of these 475 mass facilities, and I do love the fact that they're horizontal. They're not vertical. They're not this way. I don't know this, but I wish you could turn your, factories around, especially for some situations in Navy where it makes it hard for units to kind of move around. We do have a bomber out from Team 1's player of God of War going after engineers. Gets a kill on that engineer. It's only one so far, and there is a transport out from Team 2's player of Hyper 2001. He grabbed a mechs and a nice radar up there. There is an interceptor. It will take out that bomber. The bomber does take out a second engineer, but essentially it's just build power. It's not any vital structures. But still, harassment is always good in the early game. We do have now both teams in the water so far. 2 players on Team 2, and probably a third one here pretty shortly. And on Team 1, we have the player of Maximus XXX. Does look like we have a facility here for TBK, and we do have a facility online for God of War. So it does look like the players of Dante and players of the Melee are the only ones not going into Navy for now. Melee will focus on air just due to the fact he's kind of in his own little island. And it does look like Dante will focus on kind of land incursions, maybe. We do have some just strikers kind of waiting for combat. And the comm of Twitchy Mofo just hanging out on the edge of that water line. Getting a nice beachfront property here. But we have a drop coming out from Team 1's player of the Melee to the southeast for this position. There's already an engineer here who hasn't built a facility for land. That might hurt him, but the comm is nearby as well, so it's not a huge issue. He can't always walk up and deal with any incursions in that regard. But Team 2's player of Rekather has really just spread out very far. He's really, very spread out here on this eastern side. He essentially owns that southeastern corner. And Team 1's player of, Chucklebuns. Actually, that's Team 2's player of Chucklebuns, excuse me. Has claimed most of this northwestern island. A lot of harass here from Team 2. We do have the comm of Maximus trying to deal with what he can, but there are facilities online. They're producing units. They'll kind of halt any engineer incursions. And so this will slow down Team 2's advancement, or at least the player of Maximus's expansion for now. Great boon to Chucklebuns to just be able to get more mass and upgrade his ego faster than his opponents. We do see a frigate harassing those facilities. Chucklebuns trying to reclaim, going after that Aurora. Gets the Aurora, does not get the frigate, but the main issue was the Aurora because it could not be targeted by torpedoes. But now there's a frigate online here for Chucklebuns, the Thunderhead class of frigate for the UEF. It's a frigate. It's not a great thing. You have 1,000 frigates. That's awesome, but I would prefer, like, I don't know. Would I want 1,000 frigates or 250 destroyers? Ooh, that'd be a good comparison. Like, what one you would? I think the destroyers would eventually win out. I don't know. That'd be a hard. You'd have to, like, really spend some time to build up all those units to try that out. That would be interesting, though. But anyway, we have in the middle the comm of God of War going for a gun upgrade. Finishes that quite early at 8 minutes. No one has died as of yet. We have a drop, or it's not a drop. It's just a walk or hover over water here for Maximus. He takes out 1 mech. He's going to take out not a naval, a intel, a radar system. Grab it there. There it goes. Try to blind his opponent. Very good move here. We do have invasion here to the north from Twitchy Mofo. Twitchy Mofo is in the red. Very not looking good for him, and there he goes. We missed most of that fighting, but we did catch the end there. Twitchy Mofo dies at 8.5 minutes. I made a comment that no one's died so far, and then I kind of jinxed it for him. Apologies from the ether, from Strategic Mons to Twitchy Mofo for jinxing you there. But we have Dante going headfirst into a PD. T1 and T2. T1 is down. Another T1 going to be coming online here. The second one is online. The third one's now online, and this is not looking good for Dante. Those hit points are being shredded quite quickly. He's gonna maybe get out of range. Let's check out the range here very quickly. That is the range. I don't think there's a radar online. It's gonna be close. Sub 1,500 hit points. He's trying to dodge the best he can. He dodges that shot. Dodges that shot. Oh, he's doing pretty good. Gets hit. Oh, it's gonna be close. Oh, gets clipped there as well. Takes out a misses and takes out a mechs. If you can't hit a comm and you take out a mechs, you'll take that. But that has got to hurt Dante. He's going to build up some triads back here. But, man, ouch. The combo piece of cake is really trying to hold this beachhead, prevent Team 1 from really invading here in the middle. And actually is able to hit up there against that AA turret, which it's not vital, but, it's something. Takes out an engineer up there as well. God of War is going to use his overcharge to try to take out a lot of those hit points. Triads are firing at triads. Those who hate the UEF would love to see that. Ooh, looks like it's really going to just be a stalemate in the middle until Team 2's player of Piece of Cake can get some reinforcements there. There is a Riptide on its way, but one is not going to make the difference here. Naval incursion and naval fighting here to the west here for Team 1. That one Aurora has taken out 4 mechs by itself. That Aurora has paid. Actually, that one hasn't gotten a veterancy. That's probably a new one. Looks like, oh, it's down here. This is the one. 6 kills. Has 2 stars on his veterancy. 3 stars. Taking out 7 mechs by himself. Look at that. That is a very, well-paid, well-worth-it Aurora here for Maximus XXX. And speaking of mechs, Team 1 in the lead by about 8, 9, 10. It's kind of fluctuating. So let's just say 10, rounded up to 10 mass per second. Not a huge issue. They're just barely above their opponents in total mass recruits. So really, it's just anybody's game. Team 2 is down a player, and man, those mechs are just really suffering here. PD trying to be built up. The engineers are trying to be targeted. Will they build up that PD in time? It's going to be close. Will the engineer get it? No, he won't. It was almost finished. And that mech is on an upgrade too. It's at 90%. That's got to hurt. That's going to be a T2 mech that's gone. There's even a bomber over the top for Maximus. He is just doing devastating amounts of damage to Team 2's early game. There are a couple of Riptides called to deal with that. But Team 2 is going to recoil from this. They're going to have to sit back and defend up. They're going to take more time to build up defenses, build up stuff to worry about to just prevent that from happening again. That mech does upgrade, so a lot more hit points on it. Those Riptides will take care of that problem. But this bomber still just being annoying for Team 2. Takes out another engineer. There it goes. But man, those units, I'd say those 2 Aurora and that one well, the bomber didn't really do a whole lot, but those 2 Aurora specifically did a heck of a lot of work here for the player Maximus. Kind of paid back Team 2 for claiming his island that is essentially rightfully his, to be fair. In terms of T3 technology on the way, we do have T3 air technology at 12 minutes for Mealy here to the north. Same here for his opponent in Hyper 2001. Team 2 does look like they're starting to struggle in the tech game in the Navy. A lot of these units here from TBK starting to pump out a lot of artillery fire from those Salems, of course. Does look like the comm of Dante has recovered a lot of his hit points. Doesn't have his nano, but he does have T2 and gun, so he's able to stave off a couple of hits. Team 1 was able to establish a beachhead here, or at least kind of hold this position off against Piece of Cake. He's fallen back, build up his forward operating base, but really a lot of the fighting is happening in the Navy now, and it does look like this northwestern side kind of at a stalemate. Team 1 does have God of War's T2 naval headquarters, same with the player Maximus, and so it's a 2v1 scenario here. The comm of Chuckle Buns doesn't even have T2 yet. Is about to finish that, but really needs those destroyers on that front lines, or he needs a bunch of T2 torp bombers. And he doesn't have that as of yet either. So he does have T2 tech, so he can get those torp bombers out, but probably going to have to rely on that because of his lack of technology in the water. And we are at 13.5 minutes now. 5 minutes ago, we had the first player get killed off. That was Twitchy Mofo. That was the, I can't say second highest because they're all tied, but I know Twitchy Mofo is a pretty good player, so, Team 2 is definitely hurting because of his early departure, but we have a couple of Salems and a couple of these mermaids, these counterintelligence boats, essentially not shielding, but nullifying the radar signatures for their units that they surround, essentially, or encompass, or whatever the word for it is. But Team 2 can't see them. They know they're being shot at, but they can't find them. And once the vision goes over, they'll see them. So, like, we'll see once they fly over, they'll be like, oh, there's a thing over there. Oh, look, there's some units coming in. And then there they go. And they disappear again. So, Team 2 would probably need to get at least, T3 naval sonar online to see those. I think, do they all have Omni? I think they do. I can't remember. It's been a while since I looked at them. I know I've had people mention in the comments about, like, every faction has a different form of T3. Like, they have different functions with T3. and the even Seraphim have T2, but it's like a very beefy T2 that makes up for the lack of T3 sonar. So it does look like units are going to engage. We'll have the vision, of course, to be able to see them. And a lot of subs here be able to target those units. I would love to maybe see a couple of torpedoes go into this mermaid just to deny its essentially stealth field. Not stealth field, but radar and sonar jamming field. The destroyers are starting to be whittled out, though. We do see some sirens on the field as well. They have, AA guns that can target ground units. Not ground units, but, not units in the sky, essentially. Which is very convenient, but the accuracy is something to be desired, so not really the best scenario there. But we do see, I guess, some more units were invading the north, but there is that push here from Maximus. A couple of units get back here from these Riptides of God of War, and it's a war on two fronts, essentially. They're targeting the mechs, denying Team 2's player of Chucklebuns' eco, and this is right in the middle of this production facility here. He's trying to build as many destroyers as he can, gets another one online, but there's a lot of overwhelming firepower. Units called forth, a lot of Riptides coming in from the assist from Piece of Cake. They're trying to intercept those front lines and supply lines here for Team 1. And it does look like all the facilities are down here for Team 2's play of Chucklebuns. There's just a lot of firepower coming off of these destroyers and other units. Frigates are being the distraction for the comm while the destroyers target the facility. The facility is down. Lol, it says TBK, and Team 1 player of Dante has a T3 naval headquarters, and he's pumping out summits. And it will take a minute to pump those out, but that is a huge advantage when those start coming on the field. Team 2 has made some progress here against their player of TBK. Most of those facilities are down. The last one is online, and it's in this like cove, so units have to come in. But I would love to see some maybe artillery installations here. Well, maybe not there, but like maybe back here or even up here, just to kind of essentially form a kill box and kill everything except that's under the water coming into this facility. But we are seeing those destroyers be able to take out some eco on the ridge line here, so just denying eco for anybody is better than nothing. Torp bombers called forth from the air player of Hyper 2001, and most of the reclaimed will land in Team 2 side of things. But it does look like these Riptides have been a nice addition to Team 2's naval units. They're, pseudo-naval units. We are seeing the destroyers sit at range. And the Riptides, they can shoot through frigates pretty quickly once they start opening fire. See, there they go. And there goes that frigate, and he is dead. But I don't see a lot of forward momentum here for Team 2. It's a mirrored effect. Team 2 is winning the East, losing the West. Team 1 is winning the West, losing the East for now. We are seeing some whalers to the east here from Team 1's player of Melee. And he's going for this position up here. We have a Harms in the water, and they're building more as we speak, protecting their investment in this air grid up here. You don't want to lose that early on, especially with those destroyers that can't actually target those. And now that kill box idea is looking pretty good here for Team 1 to invest in, but they're not doing that. But they have torpedoes, so that's not really going to work in that scenario. Would have liked to see a Harms in the water here. That would be a very nice benefit for defense. But Harms just pummeling against these destroyers. The engineers are killed off. There's 2 facilities online. It does look like those Harms are going to ward off those destroyers, which is a nice thing for Melee. But that won't hold for long. We need more defenses sooner rather than later. Team 1, Team 2 still fighting in the skies over here. Not really with any ASFs, just interceptors and torp bombers. Team 1 is having a harder time of it on this western side, though. Team 2 is pretty well entrenched here. The Rekather is really pumping out a lot of units, bringing engineers up to the front for reclaim, pumping out more T2 facilities for destroyers and AA. We even have the comm of Rekather hiding in the water down here from this whaler. He needs a couple of air. Here they come. Here come those ASFs here from Team 2's player of Hyper. A couple of ASFs will come and assist. Those will all be killed off by Melee's air forces. The Team 2 does not really have air. Team 1 has the advantage in air for now. But that can change. A couple of Stingers. Sorry, these are Spectres, not Stingers. Or Team 2's player of Hyper 2001 will go after these destroyers. Very interesting play here. There's no AA in this mix. So those destroyers are essentially just dropped. They're just mass gift, essentially. It will take a little bit of time to chew through those hit points, but once they're gone, it's mass is mass. You got to get it however you can. Team 1 is scaling that eco better than Team 2 currently at 620 versus 560, so 60 mass per second differential. Team 1 is now at 35,000 more mass more. But we have destroyers versus destroyers here for the Cybran faction. The destroyers just walked onto land for some reason. They should go back into the water for those torpedo defenses and launch it. But they take out the naval headquarters here for TBK. And now they're targeting the destroyers. And it's not looking good here. There's an overwhelming number of them to the east. They actually probably got out of the water because of these things. It does look like we have Dante getting into the water in the east for the naval facility. Has he finished that first summit? He has finished it, and it's making its way around. Team 2 needs to be aware of that. These destroyers trying to get out of range, but the engineers are dying. They're trying to reclaim what they can before they die. Trying to, save as much mass as they can. That facility will not be saved for now. And Team 1 has to deal with this. This is a nice group of destroyers. Kind of would like to see them maybe pulled back and hang in this cove section to just use their torpedoes for defense as well as targeting everything on this ridge line. Team 1 just kind of owning the the water more and more. They've gone back to the rear guard air slot player of Hyper 2001. They've knocked out the air grid. Not that there was really a whole lot there to begin with. And so Team 2, making a huge effort to the east, is starting to lose their air grid. Not really looking good there. Has some cruisers in the mix for Team 1 and some other just attack boats. So it'd be nice for some air defenses there. But the destroyers are walking on the beach. They're targeting everything in sight. The harms can't hit them if they're not in the water. And having them go back in the water is probably not the best idea. But this base for TBK is essentially gone. This artillery from those sirens and these destroyers just really pummeling this player this game. He's really suffering. He's retreating into his friendly territory's base, or friendly teammates' base, I should say. And Dante trying to build up some defenses, but the destroyers are too strong. They're taking out the TMD. It will not matter. I don't even know what's launching those TMLs. Or those tactical missiles. I don't see. Oh, I guess we have Seraphim. Oh, the cruisers. That would make sense. It's like I don't see any UEF. That's a T3 naval factory here for Dante, and that is going to die right quick here. That is not going to go well. Look at these destroyers on land, though, just pummeling their opponent. We will avoid torpedoes. Torpedoes, where we're going, we don't need water. Where we're going, we don't need roads, is the line from a movie. It's a pretty good movie. The third one isn't the best. The second one is good. I still think probably the first one's the best. Let me know what the movie is, what line that movie is from, and whether you agree with my take on whether the first one is the best and the third one is not that great. Of course, these are all my opinions, but T2 Cormorants can't do anything against T2 destroyers that are not in the water, but they're targeting the cruisers in the back, going after the air defenses. They want to eliminate that first. One cruiser doesn't really get taken out. There are torpedo defenses, of course, on these sirens, these Salems as well. T2 Whaler gets shot out of the sky by destroyers. The melee has torpedo and nano. That doesn't, again, help anything if the torpedo is not in the water. And now the destroyers are walking on land. Still T2 Cormorants going after those sirens behind them, but one won't even get there due to the AA defenses. And more AA defenses coming online for Team 2's player of Rekethor, getting assistance, of course, because he owns that base that was one Twitchy Mofos. But Team 2 has a decent issue to deal with back here. They have units getting all the way into the back line. This is a big hole for Team 2 to plug. And now with these T3 Summit class battleships just on the front lines, they're really struggling. Their eastern side is really proving fruitful. And now, what is this game? We have these destroyers just walking on land, because why not? They're going after the melee. The melee is doing some damage with those torpedoes, but has to be careful. He does have nano, but if he gets back in the water, the artillery from those destroyers will hit him. And these frigates are trying to do what they can against these harms. It's not really getting anywhere. But now we have a fight here. The air grid for Team 1 is starting to go down. Team 2 doesn't have the air defense coverage, but the Whaler is really trying to do what he can, but those AA defenses on those destroyers alone are not enough. The air headquarters is being targeted. I love that, denying any of the other ASFs going to be built. They're trying to repair it the fast as they can. There it goes. Team 1 has lost T3 air technology from the melee. We have air technology from Dante, but it's not looking good. And now we have shots raining into this T3 naval headquarters. There we go. They're moving over, targeting that. That's a huge denial of technology for Team 2. That's a great move by Rekethur, just denying that technology, denying the building up of those summits. Because we have one here. There should be another one. That was going to be the third one. We do see those missile ships coming online for that player of Maximus. But it's going to take a while for those to get there. Really, this is now flipped. Team 1 owns the northwest cut slice of the map, and Team 2 owns the southeast cut, essentially besides that little base there. But now we have a Monkeyloid. This will significantly help Team 1's defenses for the melee, but they've lost naval headquarters here for Dante. They've lost air headquarters. They're just suffering here. That monkey gets up in the water, and there goes those destroyers. They can't fire 180 degrees behind them, and that is not going to go well. It is not looking good. There it goes. Get a nice little picture of those walking on land. Saying, I can walk in the water and on the land too, but not going well for him. Those destroyers are starting to deal damage in the rear. They need to get out of range of that main laser. The harm's still being annoying for Team 2 to deal with. Looks like the monkey will maybe... Nope, it's going to keep moving. Okay, it's going to avoid those missiles because they are always incoming from those Seraphim and UEF units. Well, in this case, they're just Seraphim. We have a Neptune as well for Team 1. Very good. Be able to target those T1, T2 units. And will be a decent help taking out those Riptides. The Riptides are focusing that target. That is the one you want to go after first. It is the more annoying to deal with. We have a couple of Zui on the way as well. Does look like Team 2 has fought off a lot of those units from Team 1 and starting to rebuild that air grid back here. But you know, essentially both teams have to rebuild, not necessarily from scratch here for the melee. He already has T3 air headquarters back online, but you still have to build that back up. The monkey is walking to this position, going after these engineers. I don't know about this, though. Having that monkey go that far forward in Team 2's kind of front line, not really the best idea with no defenses no units to attack with, and not really a lot of defenses to go after. We just have Team 1 bombers kind of running around the map down there. And a bunch of T2 Storks for the player of Piece of Cake. He went after the Neptune. That, again, is the one that I would go after because it's just more annoying to send out Riptides with that laser weapon system on that ship. And now we have a bunch of torpedoes going after the summit in the middle of the map here. And those summits are starting to feel the pain. They're both in the yellow. I think we have artillery firing here in this base, a couple of clink hammers. And we'd like to see it's like double, even triple that to really fend these off. We have the missile ship, and that's really going to hurt. Team 2 needs 4 times the amount of Team Ds to be able to fend that off. There's so many missiles coming in all the time. Team 2 really lacking the air department. They need a second player minimum to get up that T3 air headquarters technology and be able to just pump out ASFs. They're starting to lose that game. Monkey is not not really in the water, so those torpedoes from those boats subs don't really do a whole lot, but frigates will open fire. We see even have some destroyers back here as well. That monkey will die. It will take out a couple of those cruisers as well, but there it goes. There goes the monkey on the front lines. Engineers should go straight for that. No, yep, they're going straight for it. They're not even waiting. Good on the micro here for Rekethur to the east. And it is 28 minutes so far in the match. Who do you think's going to win currently? We have, of course, one player dead before 10 minutes. And Team 1 is in the lead with Eco, but just barely. It is kind of hopping back and forth between kind of even or a little bit in the lead. Let me know down in the comments who do you think he's going to win at 29 minutes. Like the video if you find it enjoyable, and of course hit that sub button if you haven't done so already. And again, just shout out to everyone for helping me reach 700 subscribers plus on the channel. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. And I look forward to your comments. I look forward to, seeing that dopamine hit when that number goes up. So, again, just thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. And let's get back onto the game here with an attack from these destroyers. They punctured through the harms to the east with the massive assistance of these attack subs and, of course, the amount of firepower off of these destroyers. And, man, this airbase, which was once great, it's like the fall of Rome. It falls in a day. And there it goes. We have, volatile explosions everywhere, facilities going down. We have spy planes, another thing, trying to get a readout on the enemy. Team 1 is trying to do what they can to defend, but there's something going on down here. Things go down. Why is he paying? Oh, because of the subs going right past the commander there. But that airbase is down. Team 1 doesn't have, well, they have one T3 air headquarters still online. And the second one just got finished as well. So Team 1 trying to compensate for their players, just their, not failings, but he's just being overwhelmed here to the east. The Calm of Melee, he's in the water. He's trying to build a harms for defense. And those engineers are being ripped to shreds. They're not close to finishing it. Melee takes out a destroyer, but it does look like maybe they spot the commander. They know the commander's there. They're targeting him directly. That's a lot of torpedoes going into that commander, but the issue is, once it gets onto land, the destroyer firepower will open, the main cannons will open fire. And there it goes. His head is out of water. Oh, no, almost. Wait. Where's the water? How far does it go? Okay, there he is. And there goes the artillery firing in. And there he goes. The Calm of the Melee is down at 31 minutes. Now it's got to hurt. It is now a 5v5. A bunch of Titans are trying to call for it to help assist. A lot of them get singed in that explosion. And now with the artillery presence, that harms does finish and then gets destroyed. There's one back here as well. And now everything gets handed over to the player. Let's see, who does it get handed off to? The player of Maximus. But it does look like it is not a full share. It's a partial share. So all the units will die when a teammate is killed, or when an enemy is killed, depending on how you view it. And that has got to hurt. All those ASFs were down. Team 2 now has the air advantage if they can pump out a lot of ASFs. They're still dealing with naval incursions to the west. They still have one more summit to deal with. And, of course, the missile ship and Titans roaming around the map. Oh, are these Perseus? No, these are Perseus. Perseus roaming around that map. They've really punctured into Team 2's mainland. While Team 1 is puncturing essentially the edges, they're puncturing straight to the heart of that base. We even have some RAS comms building up defenses as we speak. Not really going to go well for those Perseus once they come in the range of that. The facility is down. Team 2 has essentially claimed the entire eastern edge of the map. Team 1 is almost on the same thing, but they have this huge base to deal with that will not go down. And you need to move these destroyers further, closer to the beachhead just to do damage. But we do see a puncturing across the middle of the map here for Team 1's play of God of War, trying to cut off supply lines. 2 of the Neptune-class battle cruisers are really going to help deal with this. Is going to force Rekather to either just push everything he has forward or call some back. But it looks like he's not going to do that. Going after vital systems like these, going after mechs, going after headquarters, going after PGens. It's just eviscerating whatever Team 1 has. And there goes everything. Team 1 owns nothing on that island. You still have the one in the water up here to the northeast corner, but two comms' base is essentially wiped out. One of those two players has been killed off. Team 2 is defending quite nicely. They're losing a mechs here and there. Perseus are getting closer and closer, but they're being sent in one at a time, and that's really not the way you want to use Perseus. The torpedo bombers are really overwhelming these battleships to the west, but really Team 2 has a better handle on it than Team 1 does. And just look at the overwhelming firepower. Now they're going after Maximus's base. He has nothing to defend with. He has a couple of units here to the west with a battleship and a destroyer and another one. But he needs to start defending on this eastern side. Has to pull back his forces from the west. And we have Titans dealing with all of these units. Very good units to deal with T1 units with either engineer spam or the T1 artillery spam. But yeah, just look at the firepower on these destroyers. These things are being essentially the MVP of the game here for Team 2 as of right now at 33 minutes. He really hasn't gone T3 yet. Actually, he has gone T3 as a Galaxy class, but a lot of his facilities are under fire, and it's a 3v1 scenario here. Other units are being distraction. All of the shots need to be on this Neptune. The second one comes off the assembly line just enough, just in time, and now it's a 2v2, and that fight is gonna go to Team 2. Not if the cruisers have anything to say about it as I look, but it does look like those units are being thinned out here. A lot of the mechs are being taken out. We can see the damage. Team 2 skyrocketing into lead with eco at 1.1k mass per second versus 700 and some change. We have a Fat Boy online here for the player of Dante, but honestly, look, just look at the zoom out. Look at the damage that has been done to Team 1's base. It hurts. A Galaxy class has been felled, but there is a Harms online now. And that Galaxy is sitting at range. They're targeting another production facility. This Galaxy's at 77% and climbing. We do see those T2 cruisers just being a pain for Team 2, but Team T2 cruisers being a pain for Team 2. Lots of T's and lots of 2s and lots of 1s and whatnot. But that Neptune is going to die. And now there's going to be sent in, and that Galaxy will wipe the rest of them off the map. But Team 1... So you can notice the different strategies here for Team 1 and Team 2. Team 1 focusing on essentially the front north section of the map going south. And Team 2 doing more of like a kind of hook corkscrew maneuver. We're going from the east to the west. And I don't know which strategy is better, but we do see, of course, 2 full bases, 2 core mass bases are down. And a lot of auxiliary mechs are down. While Team 1 has lost essentially just auxiliary mechs and maybe a couple of... No, this isn't core mass. It's more secondary mass. They've lost more core mass over here to the west. But Team 1's strategy is just kind of take everything from front to back, and this is from side to side. The Fat Boy's doing a lot to hold off this artillery rush, or just a spam, I should say. But a couple of cormorants... No, storks. These are storks. Will help assist. There's a couple of units left. They'll be wiped out by the Fat Boy. Fat Boy... Not at 1 veterancy, but probably will get to 1-star veterancy here soon. All his Navy dies. Snipe Max with those torpedoes, and all his Navy dies. Yep, it is partial share, so that does work. Maximus is under the water. Do they know where he is? They do know where he is. They can see the comm. The comm is marked. They're targeting the comm as we speak. We have torp launchers trying to fend off those torpedoes from the subs. They'll do fine with that. The issue is you have to get to the comm, and if you go this way, it's not going to work very well. You need to go around, but that does give Team 1 enough time to maybe get out of the water, and Maximus will just get out of the water and be done with it. So that strategy is not going to work. Might as well build some strat bombers, and Team 2 doesn't have the air grid to just spam out strat bombers. They need more air grid, they need more power, they need more facilities. And both teams really struggling in that regard. We have a lot of players, just they don't have a lot in terms of air grids, and that's really what's keeping, I think, both these teams back from really accelerating in one direction or the other. Yeah, we see SAM sites or T3AA come online, but realistically, if somebody had a decent sized air grid and a bunch of strat bombers, a player is dead. Doesn't matter who it is, they're just dead unless they're in the water. So that's different. But essentially, partial share games are weird in the sense of if you kill a player who has a lot of units, it's beneficial in that regard if you kill the player, or if the player has a lot of eco, it just gets handed over to somebody else. So you got to balance, just like Tuchimofo said in chat. He's like, if you snipe Maximus with the torpedoes, all his Navy dies, which works because Team 1 has a decent amount of Navy here to the west. The issue is somebody like, let's say, who has the highest eco? If you kill God of War, for example, all that eco goes to somebody else. And he has some units, to be fair. He has a decent amount of Perseus crossing the water here. But it's not really going to do a whole lot with more and more defenses coming online for Team 2. So realistically, God of War is not the target. If you want to take out Navy, you take out Maximus XXX. If you want to target somebody else, it's going to be just handing over their eco is really what it comes down to. And for Team 1's sake, the player I would target would probably be... Well, I don't know, because Team 2 really doesn't have a lot of Navy. They lost a lot of their Navy, but they did do a lot with it, to be fair. Probably... I don't know. Maybe target the air grid that's being built back here. That would be my only thing. But then it just gets handed over to somebody else. So I don't know. There's really not one clear player to go after, and especially now since Hyper is going for a secondary air grid here in his allies' territory. It's just difficult. There's not like a clear target like Maximus XXX on Team 1 to really target. There's really just not a clear... I would not target Rekather, though, because then... Well, you can. He's the highest rated player on Team 2, but all that eco goes to somebody else, so the eco stays online. But in terms of the Navy, I think still Rekather is the target. He will lose a crab that I think Team 1 now knows about. Well, they know it's a unit. They don't know what it is, but they'll see it pretty soon. Those Perseus do make it into that main kind of production mass facility, but they're starting to meet a lot of resistance here. That's a lot of Perseus, though. No AA coverage. Very disappointing in that regard. But I would have loved to see maybe some whalers. I would have loved to see maybe some broadswords. Spectres are fine for Team 1 and T2 units, and maybe even for against Titans. You can see they just take a while to chew through those hit points, and the Perseus are always firing, and they're always going after mass, and just sniping T3 mechs is very detrimental to your eco. And now they're going after the secondary air grid that was once built, or that was just built. So that's not going to help. It also doesn't help if you don't have the move. Gotta have them keep moving. There goes one PGen. Once another one dies, there goes that one, and one more shot kills the other two. So there goes that air headquarters, and there goes that. So they want that air grid. It was a nice idea, but didn't really expect that. We have Team 1 invading the mainland here against Team 2. Team 2 kind of doing that, but not. They've had this territory for a long time. They just haven't expanded to it. Team 1 is taking the advantage and just going for, just spamming on the land to just divert attention away from the naval game. And you can see Rekather's eco went down from 700 to 550, and he's still losing eco as we speak. And you can see that number slowly fall with every Mechs that's killed off. Another Mechs is gone. This is just Mechs assassination here. Transports being shot down when they don't even have a chance to lift off. And we have Rekather really has to come back and just build up a bunch of eco. That's going to eat up a lot of his time. Not his time, but it's going to eat up, time that he can devote to other things. But T2 torpedo spam here from Chucklebuns to try to eliminate these triple battleships here in the water. We have a bunch of hover units, these Riptides, just distracting those shots. That main base here for Team 2 looking nice and juicy. There is a Novax being built. There is a Atlantis online here for Team 2. Love to see those units. Of course, they can build, air units inside their ship, which is really cool. And then, come to the surface and then just launch a bunch of units. All those Perseus have been pulled back and are trying to chase the crab that's walking along the front line. Well, did I admit? Nope, okay. Didn't know. I thought somebody died, but it was just a bunch of messages at the same time. It's going straight for that base here for the player of TBK. They're trying to chase him. You can see they're starting to close the distance, but one Percy is going to make the difference. You need like 20 of them essentially. We have battle cruisers holding this front line here. But of course, Navy only gets you so far in the mainland. If you want to get to everywhere, you need to get all the way around, and eastern side is not looking pretty with a bunch of galaxies in the water, cruisers in the water as well. They're targeting those battle cruisers, and they need to keep moving. But if they come into range, there goes the fire straight into that hull of the ship, and it really dropping those hit points very quickly. That crab turns around. Probably not the best. You just go for it. You're going to lose it on that side of the map anyways. You might as well go for something more damaging, and taking out TBK isn't really that worth it. He's not really doing a whole lot. He's been neutered for a while now, and taking out pigeons is nice and all, but you need to target something that's going to last longer. And there it goes. Takes out a couple pigeons. Essentially was a mass dump. Wasn't really that beneficial here for Team 2. I like the idea of it, but either needed more support or gone somewhere else is essentially what it is. But cruiser spam here in the middle from Team 1's player of God of War. All those missiles raining in. We have these Rascoms just trying to get out of dodge, just trying to struggle. Just get out of here. It's not worth it. They're Ras. They're not Rambos. They don't have more hit points. But we have a Tsar online for Team 1's player of Maximus. Team 2 needs some AA defenses or just a bunch of a bunch of ASFs. And they have SAMs. They have a lot of SAMs, actually. That crash damage will hurt, though. So Team 1 needs to be really careful with this Nona and how they use it. They don't want to just mass gift like Team 2 just did. They don't want to repay the favor, essentially. But expansion to the east is progressing here for Team 1. They're trying to get in the water. This would be a nice opportunity for some destroyers to just kind of roam and go after some engineers and mexes and all that. Just keep distracting Team 1. But this galaxy needs to move. You can see thousands of hit points are lost per second while this, a ton of missiles are raining in. I get you want to keep the range advantage, but the missiles work by them not moving. You might as well move them, or at least have a patrol pattern. You're just kind of go in a circle here. The thing can still fire. It's perfectly fine. We even have some Perseus going after these naval units, though we have close fire support, essentially. There goes that galaxy, like I mentioned earlier. It didn't move, and it died, and didn't really work out there. And takes out that second galaxy as well. Look at that. Perseus just, ambushing those naval units and winning. But a lot of galaxies in the water. I would probably go for more destroyers. Now you have enough galaxies. A nuke would kill everything here. But, well, if it's a land-based nuke. But a couple of gunships go after the column of Haunty. Almost get him again. That's the second time he has a close, brush? A close meet-up with death there. Got to be really careful. They really want him dead, essentially. We have a laser over the top. I wonder if he'll go for Dante to the east. Maybe not. We have the comm of TBK in the base of Maximus XXX. And all those units trying to cross the water. Not really going to go very well. Lots of Perseus. Would like to see some bricks in here using those torpedo launchers on those chassis, but I don't see those yet. No, RASCOM. Gosh dang it with those RASCOM explosions. I like RASCOMs. I like, SACUs and all of that, but please change the noise when they explode. But I don't know. What are you guys doing? You're building air units, I'm assuming. Yeah, you're building broadswords. How many do you have so far? 4? 3? I mean, yeah, it's underwater production. It's nice, but you're not using them. You're just sitting here. It's a lot of mass to just produce more things instead of using the damage output of the thing you built to your advantage. So it's like you could have just built aircraft carriers and they would have been cheaper. Essentially, is what you could have done. Build aircraft carriers. They have nice AA. They don't have a lot of hit points compared to their battleship compatriots, but they're still nice. And again, they're cheaper. That's the thing. They're cheaper. But there's a nice group of units here for Team 1's player Maximus, and they're going after this base. There is a Continental that's going to die. They're targeting the mass, which is what you want to do, especially when you're below, you're not the leader of the mass game here. And Team 1, they're behind about 400 mass a second. It's a decent chunk. You can see in terms of totals, Team 2 at 200,000 more mass, almost enough to build a Paragon. That's a lot of mass to be down. 46 minutes in. And right now it's essentially anybody's game. Similar stories are happening on both sides of the map. Team 2 looking a little bit stronger than Team 1, but they're starting to build up more and more defenses. We've had one player on Team 1 that has almost died twice. So, he's feeling nice and lucky. We have a nuke online here for the player of Hyper. That's it. Is that the only thing, really? Teleport on the way here for Rekather. Doesn't even have the laser yet. Doesn't have the other gun as well. Let's see, what do we have? Let's see, where's the AAU? Let's see, Cyber player. No, teleporter online. I see there's obviously Team 2 has a satellite that's going to die most likely pretty soon. We have Emissary starting to become online for Maximus, but really look at this overwhelming missile pressure. And the Tsar using its depth charges and laser to deal with units to the west. That's a lot of AA to deal with, a lot of flak. And Team 2 fought with artillery, which they are doing somewhere over here. But this Omni will go down, though. The shields are staying online, but I think they need like 2 or 3 more shields to really assist in that game. But Dante is killed off by Rekather by Strap Bomber. Use Neptunes on Hyper B. Oh no, it's killed by. Oh, it's killed by the crab. Got killed by the crab. That would make sense. And that the Dante could not survive that third encounter. You know, third time's the charm here for Team 2. Red, use your Navy here. Make shield boats too. Spam Team 1 frigates. Kill Omni. Use Neptunes. And that second crab is making a lot more of an impact against Team 1. It looks like maybe it's going to go after the air grid. It's going to go after the comm of God of War. Try to kill his units off. That crab will not kill him, but might open the door for that satellite if Team 2's player of Chuckle Buns targets him with the satellite. I don't actually see the satellite. Where's the satellite? I don't see this. I don't even... Oh, there it is. It's right here. Targeting mass, which is, you know, always a good idea, but the comm is exposed. If you start hitting the comm, though, he'll move. But the invasion of the galaxies has commenced, trying to cut off those supply lines. There's a lot of stuff to kill on this western side, though. The donut does go down to the west. I don't know if it was, I think it was due to ASF coverage, most likely. Yeah, I don't see any ASFs for Team 2, so it probably was that. There are some ASF build up here for Rekather, but ooh, we have Strat Bombers in the middle here for Team 2's player, Rekather. Let's see. T and turn off. Here we go. We're zooming in. I can see the mass totals to the west. They're going after the comm of Rekather. Shield is down. There go the bombs. Is it enough? No, it's not. Laser needs to target that comm immediately. How close is he to death? It's a couple more bombs. The laser is moving in to intercept. The comm's going to go in the water. It wasn't enough. He needed like probably 3 more. There's a plan. Okay. So we have, what is this? We have a bunch of engineers reclaiming a aircraft carrier. This is just interesting. We have a plan B. There is not a nuke loaded. Okay, stop telling me you're tracking. The unit is dead now. The unit cannot be tracked no more. Team 2 still holding on to that main base here for the player of Chuckle Buns. We have this nice artillery base with a lot of shields, a lot of TMD, really taking out everything in this bay. Which would like to see more and more missile ships, but I don't see many of those actually, which is kind of surprising. Lots of T1 bomber spam built up here, but we have T3 Solaces going after God of War, dropping those torpedoes, but they, oh, is it enough? They impact the ground. They don't kill them off, Max. You can make, they're going to get around another pass. They'll come onto the water. Oh, it's going to hurt, but then the laser can now target him. It's just a Solace. Oh, there it goes. He dies. Those Solaces, their torpedoes landed on the ground a little bit. That's got to hurt. We were so close to killing that comm. That was a really good move. Good attempt. Just could not anticipate the fact that the ground was just close enough to deny all that. A lot of AA coverage here. ASF's not a good place to engage here. We have a lot of ASFs more being built up by Team 2. I don't see really any large buildup of ASFs for Team 1. It might be accomplished in the air, I think. We see, of course, these broadswords that get built by those Atlantises being used to great effect. There's a lot of flak here from these Ascendants. A lot of flak. Those gunships being ripped to shreds here. We see a Tempest in the water. That's got to hurt. Going after those Neptunes. That is actually the better target for now. It's doing a lot of damage to these Galaxy-class battleships. And there it goes, firing off his shot once again. Kills that Neptune, targeting the infrastructure, of course. Got to get those buildings under control. Don't want any more factories popping up to build more units. But we have a couple of RASCOMs on a reclaim duty here to the west. They have emerged from the water and are pumping out units as we speak. We have cormorants, I keep saying cormorants, storks or stonks, depending on the connotation of what we're talking about. But they are just running amok here to the west. Team 1 going after the high value target of that Tempest. Team 2's player, Rekather, I think has all technology. He has Cybran, Seraphim, he has Aeon. I don't see any UEF. No, I don't see any of his teleporter is still not done. Only at 90%, so still working on that. I don't see any more bombers on the way. I don't see really anything. More and more SAM sites being pumped out. We see actually Ravagers as well, artillery as well. Now we have that Tempest targeting those. That installation is going to fall here pretty soon. ASF's trying to just essentially being annoying. We have a donut being built in the background here for Team 1. That's going to be destroyed here pretty soon. Lasers going after Mass, of course. And with 2 players down at a 4v3 game at 53 minutes, it's starting to look bad here for Team 1. They were doing pretty well on this western side, but with the push from Rekather just across the, shot across the bow and just moving westward, really collapsed Team 1's supply lines, really collapsed their units, their formations, all that. They had to pull back. This huge artillery base has just killed everything here. The units stayed there too long. Pings go down to target the clean cameras here in the water. That Tempest is almost killed off, to be fair. Only at 10,000 hit points up. Only 10,000. And it doesn't really matter at this point, though, for that Tempest. I think it's... Oh, no, they're targeting the cruisers. That's weird. They could have taken out the Tempest with that, but I guess not. Not going to target that. That's a huge target. That has a long range. That has a wide range. That has a very powerful cannon. Here comes that Tsar over the top. Nuke being launched against God of War. Does he have an SMD? Where is that being launched from? Where did that missile sub go? Did it die over here? Maybe? I don't know. I don't know if it died over there. Anyway. Where is that nuke being launched? It's being launched from... that apocalypse back there. There it goes, sailing across the map. The donut will fall to ASF pressure here in the west. There it goes. It's going to retreat. Oh, it doesn't retreat. Oh, nope. There it's starting to retreat, and there it goes. There goes the nuke. It's going to land right on top of him. Almost right on top of him. Pretty close by. There he goes. Could have landed a little bit southward, taking up more defense, more infrastructure, but there he goes. God of War is down. He doesn't really have any units left except for these governors. And now Team 1 is collapsing. Transfer. Stop telling me it's tracking. Transfer of control does shift over to Team 1's player of Maximus. Another nuke to the east. This time from a Liberator. He's building Tempest. That's where he was building them earlier. And it's going to shoot into this base. It will not land. There's 2 more going to be in that clip here pretty soon. But this is a nice, juicy target. Team 1 has an artillery, but only 1 is not enough, especially if bases are adequately shielded. This air grid is not. A third Atlantis has been built. 2 satellites, a third one almost done here. And I think there is the evacuation order. Team 1 is not really looking in a good way. There's satellites roaming the map over here. Lots of units in the land just not really doing anything. I think Team 1 maybe thought that more units would be, kind of running across the map here, and didn't really work out for that. That's a decent amount of units. Let's see, he was red, so that would be Maximus. 30. That's 35 Percy's decent amount of firepower on that thing, but on those things. But they just couldn't deal with it in the water. They lost the second Tsar. The third one was back here. They had the artillery. Team 2 had multiple nuke launches, though. Team 1 wasn't really prepared for that. You can see Team 1 didn't. They knew something was over here. They didn't know what it was. They didn't know it was in this base. They knew the nuke over here. It just goes to, and they didn't know. Actually, they never saw the satellites, and it could just be shields essentially. So, you need your intelligence gathering, and that just goes to show you the importance of having intel, constantly. And if your team, your enemy's going to deny it. They're going to try to deny it the best they can, normally anyways. But if they're making a considerable effort to do so, they're doing something. So, I think it's from a lack of intel. They relied, I think, too heavily on their Navy, not on much of anything else. Once that fell, essentially it was game over. More resources were diverted to land, and they probably should have been. They had a couple invasions with crabs, but that was it. Team 2's player of Rekather did it twice. That was it. And the second time it worked, killed the comm. But I think they were preparing, too much for too many scenarios. And some of that could be just down to they just needed more intel. But just look at the map of pink. You know, let's say at least a fourth of the map is covered in pink. So good job on Rekather for really just, you know, taking that base from Twitchy Mofo early on. Team 2 almost had a flawless game with no comms dying except for that one early departure. But in terms of MVP, let me see. Rekather 1700. I'm just trying to think of if it's underrated or MVP. It's kind of one and the same, but it just kind of depends on, you know, what the focus is. I feel like MVP, I think it goes to Rekather. He really pushed this eastern side. He took out 2 bases by himself very early on. Well, not early on, but took out 1 base, took out the 2nd base later on. Really kneecapped Team 1's air. They killed Mealy, their Team 1's highest rated player and the highest rated player in the game. And just Team 1 did recover eventually, but I think it just took them too long was the issue. But let me know down in the comments who you feel is the MVP / underrated player of the game. And of course, hit that like button if you found the video enjoyable. And of course, if you haven't hit that sub button, I greatly appreciate it. And again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see all of you in the next one.